after you've created the investment proposal,
Mm-hmm.
and you're reviewing that now with the investor,
Mm-hmm.
what comes next? You said there was a custom investment plan?
We will take several products, commercial buildings, commercial properties, if you will, that we feel fit with this type of investor and their goals, and we will specifically fit a property to that investor. Every property, all properties are different. I mean,
Sure.
anybody that says anything else, I wish them the best of luck. Every property is different, and every property is unique in what it offers to somebody or to people that get involved with it. Some, like I've said, are very long-term investments. It's going to take a long time. Yes, you can turn the property around very quickly. That's not the issue. It is the market around that property that might take time to develop. And again, you mentioned earlier about our experience and being the longevity that we have in the area. We kind of know where things are starting to happen and where things are kind of slowing down. And so someone that has a long-term goal of appreciation, doesn't need a lot of income right now, but needs income maybe in the 5th or 6th year to start very heavily. That's a totally different investor that, we'll see what happens eventually, or we'll see what happens right away. We need income maybe in the 2nd year, and then the 3rd year build up and forth. They're just different types of operations that go on in a building that are going to determine what type of investor we're going to put it together with. And so, yeah, we're very specific about who we're going to match with the property.
So you're basically working with their portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually becoming part of their strategic
Absolutely.
plan and working with their whole investment picture
Exactly.
and their whole investment goals. It's incredible. It's amazing understanding to be able to bring to the table.
Thank you.
Yes. After we've gone through this and we've said yes,
Mm-hmm.
let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do then?
Well, then it's the time to go out and actually buy the product, which is it's the very fun part. You're taking a situation in which someone is selling something, and it might be a partnership, but we do try. We not only try, we make the effort to understand why they're selling the product. Because you always want to know why someone's selling something. It's a kind of a foundational question you need to ascertain very quickly.
Right.
Oh,
There
yeah.
can be a lot of hidden things in there.
Oh, yeah. But through the investigative work, checking for asbestos, lead paint, and making sure the mechanical systems work, what warranties we have, who's been managing the property, what vendors do you have on the property, then it's time to actually make an offer on the property. And we do negotiate, obviously, back and forth, and sometimes it just doesn't work. We just can't buy the property for the right value at that time that's going to allow us to do what we need to do. Not every property, even though you get a good deal,
Yes.
is a good enough deal. You have to be able to take that property, and you're going to invest initially in almost every property we buy. You're going to invest some money right away. The
Sure.
first year and a half, we're reinvesting back into that property, bringing the property up to a new standard that the previous owner either didn't see or didn't choose to see and take advantage of. So we were going to raise that level. By raising that level of quality of the building, that's when we start taking care of the tenant again. Now we're back to the tenant issue, which is, of course, the foundation. So the acquisition process, once completed, is fantastic. Now we start having the fun. Now we want the investor. That's one of the last opportunities that we're going to say, it's time to come into town and see what you just bought. We want pride of ownership,
Yeah.
and we want them to see what we've just acquired. They need to be able to touch and say, yeah, that's my building right there. And we have had wonderful experiences of people bringing their families into Colorado that they've never been to Colorado before,
Yes.
going down Denver and point out, that's our building.
Oh,
and their
wow.
kids are jumping up and down. I mean, it's a very fulfilling experience when someone actually takes ownership of a property. It's very exciting.
So, and speaking to that, yes, how wonderful for them to be able to come in.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you have a specific structure how investors get involved. Is it you and I and we're partners on the building, or how exactly does it work? Because you have a
It's a limited liability, limited partnership that we put together.
okay.
And it's
Can you define that?
Well, my attorney can better than I can, but it's really a partnership.
Okay.
It's a general partnership that we put together. We are the operating partner of the partnership. Again, going back to making it easy for the investor not to have to do any work. We take a very small percentage of ownership in the building, and the investor takes a large percentage, obviously, because they're putting in most of the money.
Right.
We're putting in our time and effort, but they're putting in the cash. The way that partnership then works is we are paid a minimum amount of money, but the investor, if you will, gets the bulk of all the returns. Until that investor gets a certain point of return, then we start to participate. But first, we make sure the investor gets the lion's share always. That's the way it works.
And is this a one-on-one per building,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
is this group? Okay.
Every building is unique in itself. Every investor has ownership, and that partnership is very specific just to that property. We may partner on other buildings and other products, but each individual building is its own unique partnership.
Wow.
And it's fun.
This is really customized
custom.
investment,
Well, it's the best way to do it. No surprises.
right?
Well, and that goes, and I should touch on this very briefly. There are a lot of unfortunate situations where investors get involved and their money disappears magically. That's not the way we work. We make sure we have a reporting system that, to some degree, we get almost borderline complaints because we give out so much information. And it's like, well, do I need to know this? No, you don't need to know this, but if you want to know this, it's available to you.
Right.
We send out monthly reports, quarterly reports, annual reports. We send photos, we send constant letters letting people know that this is about what's to happen with your product. This is what we're getting ready to do. Here's the money, here's the improvements we're about to make. Here's the new tenant mix, here's your tenants, here's their contact information. It's a constant flow of information. What you do with it is up to you. A lot of investors have fun. They say, oh, I like that tenant. Can I meet that tenant? Because it's a certain company they recognize, and so they want to meet that person. And so we bring them in, and they get to meet a tenant in their own building,
Wow.
and it's a very prideful moment for these people.
Yes.
But the important thing is information. We constantly give you information, and our books are wide open. You can come in anytime and look at all our books. But it's just that flow of information to you is consistent and steady so that you know exactly what's going on with your building.
I've never heard of this level of service, I mean, forgive me if
It's frustrating.
but
This is what it should
it's
be.
really something unique.
Thank you.
I
It
think
shouldn't be.
it's- of
It
course,
just
that's,
shouldn't be.
Why we're here and why we're talking.
Yes.
I have one more question. For your investor base,
Mhm.
globally, I mean, I imagine anyone would be lucky to work with you.
Okay.
No, but please let me share that with you, because that's true. Anyone would be fortunate
Thank you.
to work with you, to have their back, to
Mhm.
have you taking care of all the details and bringing your expertise to their life and to their money.
Thank you.
And so is that available internationally, globally?
Oh yes, we've worked with investors, in the United States, Canada, outside, throughout the world, Malaysia. I mean, it's not restricted to locale. And again, more particularly now than ever before, it's so easy to be in contact with people with our
Sure.
technology that where you're located is so not relevant. What is relevant is where that investment is located. And that investment is going to be in Denver or Boulder, Colorado. And that's where you want to be. You cannot beat this area. You just cannot beat it. But no, the simple answer is no. It doesn't matter where you're located. It doesn't matter at all.
Fabulous.
And it's more fun when you're not located in the United States because it gives you a reason to come to the United States.
There you go. There you go. You know what? Thank you.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you very
My
much.
pleasure.
I wanted to, just recap
Mhm.
for a second. When someone gets the privilege to work with you, work with your company, your team, your staff, your reporting process, your knowledge and your wisdom, they're not only getting your family foundation
Mhm.
in this area, they're also getting a long history of integrity, a long history of success,
Yes, ma'am.
but they're getting also a very very unique talent, and that is someone who can give and will give an educated yes and an educated no on their behalf.
Correct.
And that's something, that's a treasure.
Well, and we've said this too many times, it shouldn't be that way. When you partner with somebody, there's expectations on both sides.
Sure.
And we do expect, there are expectations from our investors. And that is, number one, sometimes you have to be patient. Sometimes things don't work the way you want them to. But the bottom line is, we are able to turn products around. It might take time, but that's what we have. And that's the beauty of investing in commercial real estate. Like I said, there are cycles to everything. And we can't predict every cycle. We have a good feel for that because of our experience. But it's what we do with the product to survive a cycle. We do. We didn't get into this very briefly. Our loan and debt on a property is very minimal. That low debt ratio allows us to survive when the economy does go down. And I guarantee you, our economy is going to go down again. We're kind of in a slump right now, and it's going to come out of that slump. So I guarantee it's going to go down again sometime. So we protect ourselves. We know what's going to happen, and there is going to be another down cycle. So we make sure we take care of that up front by not overloading our property with debt. A lot of people say, no, we want to take cash out, and we say, no, you can't. We're not going to let you because we want to protect that product. That allows when things go bad, if we have to lower the rent to keep a tenant, we can afford to lower the rent to keep a tenant, whereas the building next door can't afford to do anything. The tenant leaves, they're in trouble. So, no, we bring a professionalism to the game. We engender the family attitude and making sure we take care of that tenant. That is what we're all about. And it's simple. It's not hard. It's simple and it's fun, and we do enjoy it.
That's one of the reasons that the Ventnor Commercial Advisors properties are full
Yes.
next to buildings that are not.
Yes, ma'am.
What a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Enjoyed it.